was not going to happen to me. I wasn't going to get it. My father had it. My grandfather had it. My great-grandfather had it. And in the summer of 2005, I got it. I grew up with all the family story, knowing the history. I grew up knowing that all the men in my family got it, but I was going to be the exception. I had the annual eye exam. I would go in to see the eye doctor. You see, the eyes, they work two ways. I can see out. Doctors can see in. And when they're looking in, they're looking at the back of my eyes, at the blood vessels. Diabetes affects your blood vessels. And your eyes become an early warning system for diabetes. My eyes were always fine. I exercised some, nothing ever really consistent. Didn't care much for team sports. Didn't care much for individual sports, for that matter. I tended to hang out with three good friends of mine, Jim, Jack, and Johnny. Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, and Johnny Walker. They didn't care much for sports either. I like the finer things in life. A thick, juicy steak, a bottle of fine red wine, and a single malt scotch. Vegetables, to me, was a leaf of lettuce and a slice of tomato and a thick, juicy cheeseburger. Oftentimes, late night hanging out with the boys, be drinking, smoking a cigar, shooting some pool. We'd have a drinking contest to see who could hold their liquor the best. I didn't won. Now, for someone not predisposed to diabetes, that was an awfully unhealthy lifestyle. For me, it was a ticking time bomb. But I lived by the mantra that we're all going to die someday. I was not going to arrive at that grave all spit, shined, and polished. I was going to arrive at that grave, sliding, banged up, battered, and bruised, cocktail in one hand, cigar in the other, singing, "Woo-hoo, what a ride!" And oh, what a ride it was. In the summer of 2005, I had to go see my doctor, and he reported elevated blood sugar levels, wanted me to come back for further tests, and I did. And those tests revealed an A1C of 7.5. See, the A1C, it measures the amount of glucose, the average amount of glucose in your blood over the past 90 days. And people normally fall somewhere between 4 and 6 if you don't have diabetes. And it is also used as an evaluation, a yardstick, if you will, as to how well you are controlling your diabetes. The higher the number, the higher the risk of complications from diabetes. I left that doctor's office that day, diagnosis in my hand, and I did what every normal person would do. I ignored it. And a few weeks later, when the reality of having been diagnosed with diabetes finally set in, I said, I've got to do something about this. Diet and exercise. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Diet and exercise. So I proceeded to get rid of all the food in the house that I should not be eating, and I brought in all the food that I should be eating. And I swore to myself, I'm going to exercise every day, all day. And that lasted all the way until my very next doctor's appointment. I went in, and my A1C had gone down to 6.5, and I was like, oh, this is good. I felt so excited. I went home from the doctor's office that day, and I celebrated. I didn't exercise that day, and I had one of those meals that I shouldn't have. I enjoyed it so much on the first night, I did it again on the second night. Then the third night, all week, 2 weeks, oh, I quit. Went back to my next quarterly visit with the doctor. My A1C was back up to 9.2. Doctor had to put me on meds. Meds! Yes! Drugs! I can do that. Drugs will do for me what I was not going to do for myself. Then I can now do all the things that I wanted to do. It was a win situation for me. Subsequent visits found that my A1C would go up. My diagnosis for medication would go up. And my weight would go up. 250 pounds, A1C of 10.5. I'm looking at a picture of myself, of my daughter's Indian princess bride. 10 dads, 10 daughters. Beautiful scene. I'm the biggest person in there. Yes, I'm already kind of tall, but I was also huge. I looked at that picture and I thought to myself, I've got to do something or diabetes is going to kill me. I cried. I knew right then and there I really had to do something. And if I was going to be that exception, I needed a guide, I needed a roadmap, I needed a mentor. I needed something, and I found my answer in an unexpected location. A fellow Toastmaster. She had given a speech on achieving goals and had used something called P90X as a way to get to her goal. I listened intently to what she had to say, did a little bit of research, and I found that P90X, it had that diet plan. Eat this here, this is how much you're going to eat, and this is when you're going to eat it. And it also had exercise, do this type of move, and do it at this time, and it had a way so that you didn't get hurt along the way. And it was led by a fellow by the name of Tony Horton, who said, do your best and forget the rest. And it all worked out. And it did. It worked out for me. It clicked. I marched into my doctor's office after going through one round of P90X. I marched in, take my blood, tell me what my A1C is, and it came back at 6.5. I was exceptional! He started reducing my meds. I have now kept my A1C under 6.0 for the past year. Diabetes affects 5% of the population in the world today. It cannot be cured. Diabetes took the life of my father, left him half blind and nearly crippled when he died. It will not take me. I will be that exception. Madam Contest Master.